What's happening, fam? LAR movement still moving. The book is entitled Lessons from a Non-Custodial Father at Amazon, Kindle, and Create Space. Link will be in the description box below as usual. Go get it. PayPal link there also. They asked me to put it up, so I put it up. Thanks everybody for supporting. This video is entitled The Decline of Adult Conversations. I might go live later on. And I noticed that it's more and more, it's becoming more and more difficult to have adult conversations because people aren't grown. So a lot of people are old enough to be grown, but they're not grown. And when you find out what's important to people, it's immature, childish. So how much can we really talk about? Outside of lust, how much can we talk about? And the reason I say that is because the small things are difficult. Somebody asks you how your day is going, you don't want that conversation. And I saw something, I was listening to something that reminded me of something where, when somebody, you go out and you ask somebody for a dance, let's dance, and that line is not original enough to get me to dance with you. What? If you're on the dance floor and somebody asks you to dance, that's what it was. Like, you actually think they need to come to you with a line, like, say something more original to get me in the mood to dance. Did the music get you in the mood to dance? Do you want to dance or not? You want to dance or not? Right? And using that concept, I started realizing, that's part of the decline of adult conversations, because people need a special icebreaker to have a grown-up conversation. Social media has also changed conversation to the point that people think the way you interact on social media is actually how you're supposed to interact with people. Which, no. If I like your picture, that doesn't mean, I like you as a person. If I follow you on social media, that doesn't mean, like, I want to follow you every day in person. It's good to look at when I ain't got nothing to do on my phone, period. But what I'm seeing is people are actually taking social media and are actively believing that's reality. And I remember talking to a younger friend of mine about this, because she was dating. She's like, well, see, it's the difference between hanging out and dating and being in a relationship. And all the lines were blurred. The waters were muddied. All of it sounded like it was the same thing. You're doing the same exact thing, but you're not doing the same exact thing. And it's like, you can't have a conversation with somebody like that about adult stuff, because they check in and out of adult mentalities and childish mentalities. I don't feel like thinking right now. I'm not in the mood for this. Can we do this another time? So, and I see people as I get older who spent so much time, how can I put this? They spent so much time worrying about childish things that they became old children. And you can see the light go off in their eyes when you have an adult conversation. They just can't, it's nothing there. And the reason why it's nothing there is because they never had to actually be grown. They never had a sink or swim moment, a fight or flight moment. They never had a real responsibility, a real obligation to anyone or anything. So they're pretty much useless. And the reason I talk about this is because as you get older, I think this is one of the conversations why older people aren't actually um, getting along, or people aren't actually getting along, because you got to find somebody with your same mental capacity. You know, you don't have to be on the very same wavelength, but you have to actually find somebody who's as intelligent as you are. And what you come to find out is, you know, people that say that they're smart, but their actions say otherwise. Their words say otherwise. Their decision making says otherwise. And then, you know, they evade intelligence until they need to be very smart, and then they wind up popping up being smart. Like I told you, I was always sharp and smart, and it's like, I mean, so what you're saying is you just play dumb all the time? That's what you're saying? So I need to be around somebody that plays dumb all the time? No, thank you. Now, other thing, and people want to look like adults, but without having a conversation like adults. You know, I want to be in adult events, but I still want to sound like I'm in high school. I want to sit at the grown folks' table, but I still want to talk like a child. You know, I have an adult's age, but my ideology is suspect. And then when people challenge your ideology and your mentality, instead of being sharp enough to listen, take it in, respond to it, people get defensive and throw tantrums. You know, the only God can judge me. You can't tell me what to do. Now you sound like a teenager who's ready to turn 18 and get up out the house, because now all of a sudden you're grown. But when you get out in the world, it ain't as easy as you thought, because all you did was run your mouth. So it's a decline in adult conversations. When people say they want to come together and build, the problem, you know, the premise is great. The problem is a lot of people don't know how to build, because you can't sit down and have an adult conversation with these people. Like they don't have any responsibilities or obligations, or they don't have a plan. They just, you know, they want it all done for them, and it should just be set up while they just do whatever. And then, you know, when people get in another room full of adults, and those adults actually have adult conversations, you got people who play like they're listening because they're a fly on the wall and they're just soaking it in. But truth be told, they got nothing to say, because it's outside of their intellectual, outside of their intellectual pay grade. I'll say it that way, or ranking. They realize I'm stupid compared to these people, and then you see people reverting back to ridiculousness to get the attention off the fact that you don't have a sharp mind. And see, part of the issue is when people have these breakups and they split up, all of a sudden people are very intelligent when it comes to tearing a person down. Oh, you know all the ways on the planet to tear a person down, but you don't know any of the ways on the planet to build a person up. You know all the ways in the world to try to make a person feel low, but you don't know any ways to make a person feel high. You know all the negative things to say, but you don't know any of the positive things to say. And this becomes the decline of adult conversations, because either they're childish or negative. So normally adults want to have conversations that are grown, that are progressive, that are positive, that can lead to some things getting done later on down the road. But what I'm seeing nowadays is just a bunch of reality TV type conversation, you know, and people act like it's deep, but it's really not. It's very shallow. It's a lot of shallow ideologies out here that people think are deep, and it's like, you just haven't grown up all the way yet to see how little that mindset really means. So I'm done with this one. Like, share, subscribe. Catch y'all on the next one. Peace.